When I think about search engine optimization, I think about it like real estate. If you want to be at the top of the high rise, you can go rent that, right? And as long as you're willing to pay to rent that, you can be at the top of the high rise, right? It's like being at the top of the results. If you really want to be there forever, though, you want to own it. So that's what I think about when I think about SEO, the difference between paying for Google Ads, which is renting the space at the top, and investing in your search engine optimization is like buying that space, buying that real estate.
Welcome to the Neon Buzz, where we offer marketing advice for oral, aesthetic, and other elective healthcare professionals. Sit back and relax while we share our digital marketing secrets to help you grow your practice.
Hey, welcome back to the Neon Buzz. I'm Alan. I'll be your host today. And today we're going to be talking about how to boost your local SEO and get more patients. And today we've got a very special guest with us today, especially because of this topic we're going to be talking about. It's none other than the co-founder and the CEO of Neon Canvas, Alex Rasmussen. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Alan. Thanks for having me, man. It's a real pleasure. You guys have done an amazing job putting this together, and I am honored to be a guest today.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited about today because, when you were building Neon Canvas, in the early days, yeah. One of the key factors to it was you didn't just want to have one person trying to do a bunch of different jobs they weren't the best at. You wanted to hire experts in each individual area. And in the very early days, you had people who could design websites and do other stuff, but you were the SEO expert. That's what you kind of cut your teeth on in the marketing world. That's what you really brought to the table and kind of helped Neon grow so fast. And so today I'm going to ask you a number of questions about local SEO and how people can use that to bring more patients to their business or help grow their business. When I stop to think about how I find a business, I think there's a few different ways people go about it. Yeah. Me personally, I'm one of these guys, I pull out Google Maps. That's like my thing.
Maps, yeah.
Yeah, I go and look for a Mexican restaurant, and then I start looking for who has the best margarita review, something like that. Or if it is a doctor, I want to be able to go look at some reviews. If it's food, I want to try to find some photos, stuff like that. But I feel like other people may go about it different ways. I know, like my wife may go on like a Facebook group or a maybe it's a community page for the neighborhood we live in and ask, hey, who has a good recommendation for a plumber? And she might do that. Some people go straight to Google. What's kind of your jam? Like, how do you tend to try to find things?
Yeah, a lot of different ways. And I think it really depends on what I'm looking for, right? But that's what tells you more than anything that like Google is evolving, right? That it used to be where everybody went, right? Everybody would just go to Google and you'd Google something, right?
Right.
It became something that was just part of your daily routine. I still like Google, right? So I still will use Google as a search engine. I type that in. I typically bypass the ads at the top. That's just my kind of MO. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And then usually through the map section too, because there's a lot of different things that can affect that. But local is one of the biggest things, right? So it oftentimes will put something that's really near you. Maybe not is necessarily the best result. Okay. And certainly the sponsored, you can make an argument that's not going to be the best result because they're paying to be there. So I love that organic result, right? The person that has put in the work into their business to be ranked at the top of Google. So that's still my go-to. It's so splintered between Instagram and Pinterest. If I'm designing a room or something, I spend a ton of time on Pinterest looking for ideas and things like that. So it really depends on what I'm looking for. But what I have realized is that social proof is so powerful. Right? Because if you're used to looking for a plumber, you would call your friends around, hey, who have you used? You would get that social proof. So now it's like you have all these micro influencers, what I call micro influencers, mini influencers inside of communities. They don't have 100,000, 50,000, 30,000 followers. They have 3,000 followers. But they know everything, right? They're tapped into their local community and empowering those many local influencers to connect with brands is something I'm really passionate about. It's something that I'm working hard to build right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, when you say that you go and check, Google and that's kind of your go-to place, like how far down do you tend to go like on the results? Are you sticking pretty much to the top? Do you ever make it to the second page?
I think that's a great question, honestly, because you want to be on the first page.
Yeah.
Clearly. You want to be in that top 3 to 5, obviously. But if you're not getting the result you're looking for, you do end up on the second page, right? And sometimes it's like, how do you know? How do you know what the result you're looking for? And that's where I think great copywriting comes into play, because you're not clicking on that result if it's not answering the question that you asked, right? But that goes into SEO, is how do you answer the questions that people are asking on your website, and then give the social proof to verify that you are who you say you are.
And I guess we should clarify before we move any further forward, the SEO does mean search engine optimization.
That's right.
That when whatever engine they're using to search, that you've set up your account, your wording, whatever, in such a way that it's going to show somewhere up towards the top and not get buried.
Yeah, when I think about search engine optimization, I think about it like real estate. If you want to be at the top of the high rise, you can go rent that, right? And as long as you're willing to pay to rent that, you can be at the top of the high rise, right? It's like being at the top of the results. If you really want to be there forever, though, you want to own it. You want to be you want to own that top. So that's what I think about when I think about SEO, the difference between paying for Google Ads, which is renting the space at the top, and investing in your search engine optimization is like buying that space, buying that real estate.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So for the long haul, you put in the hard work so that as new competition comes in and they start trying to do some of the tricks, you were there first and you kind of own the real estate first, and they're going to have to try to take it away from you if they're really going to bump you out of that space.
That's right. Yeah, two of my favorite things, real estate and search engine optimization. Put them together.
All right. So if we have any viewers out there who are healthcare professionals that own their own practice, what are a handful of actionable tips that you could give us that would help them, bring new patients into their business, that they could implement, right now and get going? That's not something they have to kind of wait for months down the road. What could they start doing here within the next few days?
Yeah, that's a great question. And when I think about this question, I think about like a hyper localized SEO versus maybe some of the traditional SEO where like you want to rank for basketballs, right? You want to sell basketballs, right? Well, okay, how do you do that? Or if you're Rawlings, you're selling basketball, you're Spalding, right? You're selling basketball. How do you do that? That's on a big national scale, world scale. This is different because this is local. You want to target people in Germantown, Tennessee, in Fort Worth, Texas, in Cincinnati, Ohio. How do you do that? One of the first things you can do to turn this quickly is ask for reviews. We've got a brilliant system that we use for our clients to get reviews. And what we do, I tell them every quarter, give something really cool away. A cruise, a night out to a pro game with a nice dinner. And so listen, you can't say to them, give me a 5-star review. That's against the Google policies, right? But it's given, right? If you're asking for somebody for a review, you're not asking for a 1-star or 2-star review. You see 100 patients a day. You see 50 patients a day. If 5 of those are leaving you a review of those 50 or 100 patients every day, and you do that 300 days a year, you are you're racking it up. You're getting tons of social proof of how great your business is. And you're just simply asking, and what's it cost you? A $1,500 cruise ticket or something like that. It's a small price to pay for the results that you can get by doing that. And then here's something else that's really cool is when they're leaving that review, ask them to kind of be specific. Dr. Fagala is the best orthodontist. He gets my kids' teeth looking great and straight and beautiful smiles. Using the words that your business is being searched for in the review is a great way to drive your hyper local SEO. The next thing you're going to do is you've got to take an audit at your website. You've got to look at your website and you have to make sure you're answering the questions that people are asking. Who's the great local orthodontist in my area? Who's the great doctor? Who's the great dentist in my area? You have to answer those questions and answer them by having a page on your website that lists your 5-star reviews. You got a page right there on your website that gives the social proof of why you're the best local doctor for them to come see. I think those are 2 great tips right there to start you out. So your titling on your website and getting great reviews are really important. But when you get to that website, what else is it doing, right? Does your website work? Is it converting? Does it load quickly? Is it answering the questions? Do you have an FAQs on your website? People don't just go to Google and say, orthodontist Memphis. They start asking questions, right? What age should my child see an orthodontist?
Right.
answer these questions. So you need to look at the questions that people are asking on Google. And you can do that because as you start to type in on Google, it starts to show all these suggested items, right? Who is the best? So look at that and look at the suggested searches that are coming up in Google and start answering those questions and writing blogs on those topics. That's the next key, blog topics. You have to have a great content strategy. Content is king. It's everything in this world. It's how you tell people you are who you say you are. So at the beginning of the year, you need to sit down and you need to come up with all the topics that you're going to write about this year. Now, if you're thinking, you're sitting here, you're watching this, you're a doctor, you're like, I'm not doing all this. You don't have to do it. You can hire us to do it. That's the point here. We can do this for you. We're going to help you come up with a content strategy, but you got to have that content strategy so that you're not sitting around, oh, what am I going to write about this month? You know the topics. You've researched the topics. You're answering these questions and you're doing it in a strategic way to prove to Google and other search engines and other searches that you are who you say you are.
That's a lot of great information. I mean, that gives people so many different things that they could be working on. I feel like some of those are things that might take a couple of weeks, and then some of them are things that they can do like right now. I want to circle back to what we were talking about with the Google My Business. Obviously, the reviews are the gold of it. But there's also other components to it that can make a difference in how you show up to people within the community. Tell me a little bit about like kind of information, like how should you update it, and maybe like other things that go into play other than just reviews that, you know, somebody could go to their account today and go make some changes like today.
Yeah, man, that's a great question because I came up in the world of SEO I got into SEO doing like 2008, aging myself here. Wow, it's 16 years I've been doing search engine optimization. And it was like the wild, wild west. You know, I printed off a Google Webmaster Tools book. I'm like, 1,000 pages. I'm just flipping. I'm learning. I'm self-teaching myself this stuff. But then they rolled out these My Business pages, and you could use what they call schema markup. And I don't want to get too technical here. That's what Neon Canvas is for. You can tell your website how to look at the Google My Business page, and you can tell the Google My Business page how to look at your website. You can tell Google how to view these things, where to categorize them, etc. So you can go into My Business and you got to make sure all those things are filled out. What is your category? What is your description? These things are called metadata. And we use metadata because humans aren't determining these rankings, robots are, and they use the metadata to get the information that they need to determine how to sort this stuff for you. So that meta description is so important on both your website and the way that you link from the Google My Business back to your website. We can help you figure all that out, but that's something that you got to have down pat. But then you need to go into those various categories and make sure that's all filled out. You've got to have braces, you got to have Invisalign, you got to have all these different things that you're an orthodontist, you're a lot of things, even though you're just one thing. There's a lot of different ways that people search that, right? So you need to make sure all that's filled out. You need to make sure your descriptions are filled out. Put as many products and things that you can put in there to fill out that page. Don't leave anything blank. Then go back and start adding pictures. Okay, adding pictures to your Google My Business. And here's a little trick I'm going to teach you is when you take a picture with your Nikon or your Sony camera or whatever it is, it's going to name that image something, right? It's going to be img_5237.jpg. That's terrible to just upload that to the internet because it's not telling those robots anything about that image. Change that image name. Call it Best Orthodontist in Germantown.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And then now when you're uploading all those images, upload as many as you can and you've named them properly with what people are searching for, you're so far ahead of the game and you're not wasting that image title on something that's not going to help optimize.
Like when I said earlier, if I'm looking for a restaurant, I'm going to look at those reviews and I'm looking at the pictures of people's food, and that makes a big difference for me. But in the world of like healthcare, talking about like doctors, what kind of pictures are good, to put on there? Like what would people want to see, or what does Google want to see to get good results?
I love what an office looks like. I love to see what it is, because you think about the old school medical offices and they were just like brown walls and like just the people are putting doctors are putting a lot of money into the experience, and that's what it's all about, is the experience. bring your office to life with these pictures. Show the reception area, show your Dippin' Dots, show your candy wall, show your cool chairs off, show the cool wall that you have off with, all these smiles on it. Show the doctor at work, show the staff at work. You want to really bring your office to life with these pictures and title them correctly.
All right, we're on a roll with these tips. It makes me want to go open my own office because now I know exactly what to do to get found and beat out my competition.
Yeah, you could be a doctor.
I'm going back to medical school.
Yeah,
see you,
bye.
boss.
Yeah, see you. It's been real.
All right, so, but give me like maybe another couple of things that people could do. When I read these reviews, sometimes I see that the business interacts with them. Do you have to do that, or how do you do that? Like, is there a way that's better than another way to respond to that stuff?
I think it's brilliant content, right? It's king. So now, both good and bad, it's going to happen. There's going to be some reviews that happen out there. You've got to respond, because what happens a lot of times when you respond is, people just want to be heard, right? So if they leave you a great review, thank them for that. More content, So now not only do you have 500 reviews, you've got responses to all of them. There's a lot for robots to dive into there, and there's a lot for people to dive into there. So respond to those reviews. I think that's really, really great, especially the bad ones. And what I do with a bad review, and I know this isn't all about reviews, but I just want to tap this in. Let's respond, first of all, right away. 2, let's reach out to the person, because the cool thing about reviews is they're editable, So you may get a bad review that you can change. You can change that experience. The person just wants to be heard. Reach out to them. Find out what went wrong, and see if you can fix it, right? And a lot of times you can fix it. You can right the ship. And I think that's really important. But you want to respond to it, and don't respond with haste. Don't get mad. It happens. You're a professional. You're a business owner. You're a doctor. You need to go in there and respond with grace, right? Take responsibility and fix the problem. That's really important, I think, to respond to reviews. The other thing is what we call the NAP, right? The NAP, the name, the address, the phone number. You have got to create consistency there. Did you move offices? Do you have old dress somewhere?
Oh, right, yeah.
Do some places call you Memphis Braces and other people call you Saddle Creek Orthodontics? Or are you SEO, right? SCO, as in Saddle Creek Orthodontics. If you've got a lot of different names for your business, that's fine. That's cool. You can list those in like the descriptions and other stuff. But the official listings that you have on all these directories, whether it be Google, Yelp, Instagram, Facebook, doesn't matter, Foursquare, there's a ton of them. Got to be consistent. You need the same name everywhere, because you do not want to start creating confusion for these robots. They don't know who you say you are. You're going to shoot down the listing. So create that consistency, and then use your other names in the descriptions and other things, also called SEO or Saddle Creek Orthodontics, or, some people know me as Memphis Braces, right? If you're Dr. Fabulous. So just using him as a great example, because he's in our backyard as a business partner. But Neon Canvas is even that way. Oftentimes when we're talking about Neon Canvas, we just say neon, right? And so we as Neon Canvas have to optimize around that. We have to be optimized for neon as well, which is a wild thing to optimize for. But when somebody just Neon Marketing Agency, we need to make sure we come up for that, right? But we're not going to go in to the name in the directories and call ourselves Neon Marketing Agency. That's not who we are. We are Neon Canvas. Make sense?
Yeah, it totally does.
Good. I think those are a couple more little tidbits that we want to get right. Respond to reviews. Make sure your NAP's right.
All right. So far, we've been talking a lot about Google My Business and about web pages and websites and things like that. I know we've spent a few episodes here on the Neon Buzz talking about social media and the way that can help your business stuff. So, does social media help local SEO very much? Is that a big thing? Is it not a big thing? How does that come into play in the mix of all of this together?
I think that's a great question. And this is what I want to say about how social media and local SEO work. I keep talking about content, right? Content's king. You need to find out who your local influencers are. Who are your mommy bloggers, right? That are key. Who can come in and get Invisalign? Who are the local pro basketball? Who are the people that have a following in your neighborhood that you can tap into on social media, and then work out something with them where they're coming into the office, they're tagging you, right? They're checking into your office on social media, they're mentioning you, they're adding you, right? So, and then you can share that on your social media. I think that's how that plays into SEO, because you start finding those local influencers who have a following and they have the ability to influence people to come into your office. So when you think about social media, think about who is out there in my local audience, even some kids. Like I tell you, AJ, my son in Germantown, and Stella, same way. So, I mean, all of my kids, but really AJ, because he's a good athlete, right? He goes out there, he performs on the field. People know his name. They know who he is. If you're a local orthodontist, you want that kid in your office, right? And you want him. We want braces on him so that everybody else, and then get the mom. Hey, who did AJ's braces? Well, Dr. Fagala did them. That you got to know who your local influencers are so that you can leverage that.
It definitely sounds like the mommy influencer, when they post on social media, that's definitely going to have a big impact within the social media world. But does that end up crossing over into Google or to the Google My Business on like Google Maps? Like, would that type of content show up or affect Google ranking in any way?
Yes and no. A review or a tag that you get on social media is not going to show up in the map listing. It's not going to show up in your Google map. But what it could do is they could see that, right? They tag your office. Now they click on your Instagram profile. Then they click on the link in the bio. And now they're on your website. So you just created a new visit to your website, right? So you've created proof to Google, hey, visits are part of the algorithm. How much time are they spending on the page? What does the conversion rate look like? Are you converting that person once they get to the page into something, either a consultation or signing up for even an email list or something like that? You've got to make sure that your website's doing its job. And that's where that comes in, is when people see you on social media, they end up at your website. They end up on your Google My Business page. They do a search for you, and that you, again, are who you say you are. That's where that crossover happens.
They're cross-referencing you.
That's right.
On multiple platforms, so that they're not just taking one person's word for it. They want to go see what somebody else had to say about it. And they're like, okay, I think I'm going to go with this because multiple people in different places are all saying the same thing. They're not getting mixed messages across the ecosystem.
Yeah,
so.
That's right. Yeah. And I mean, listen, SEO at the end of the day is two things. It is a straightforward process of making sure that your website is performing well, it's titled correctly, it has great content. And then the second that is that little bit of special sauce, right? The way you link things, the way that your external links come in, the way that you title things correctly, the way that you do your images. I've given away some of these tips, but that ultimately is your agency's job, to have a little bit of that secret sauce to get you to the top, right? And any great agency is going to have that, including Neon.
Well, we just covered a lot of different things I think are going to be valuable to any doctor or business owner out there. I think definitely, rewind this episode, come back and listen to the very specific things we talked about what should you be doing on your Google My Business page or entry. There's some things you can do today. Like, have you not responded? Have you not even just gone and clicked like on people's reviews on your Google My Business? You could go do that today. Have somebody make sure all the information's correct. Get a few new pictures taken, maybe get somebody to come out and take some new pictures. There's a lot of things we covered today that you could do within the next few days or week that would start to have an impact on the way people are finding you online.
Yeah, this has been fun. I've enjoyed doing this, and I love talking about SEO because it's one of the most impactful marketing activities that you can take on in your business and create real returns. ROI, baby, return on that investment to get dollars in your pocket.
And like you said way back at the beginning, when people really focus on this, you're encouraging them to really build their business for the long term and not just the quick fixes and the quick eyes on their product. That you're really like buying the real estate,
buy that
long
real estate,
game.
And listen, don't sell it either. Never sell real estate.
That's a great tip. Hey, so we actually have a blog that's on this topic that you can find on Neon Campus's website. I think we're going to put a link to that blog on this topic in the description on our YouTube here. So if you want to learn more about what we've been talking about, definitely go down to the description, find that. Check that out, bookmark it, come back and forth to it, give it to somebody in your office as maybe a actionable list of things that they can knock out for you if you don't have time to do it yourself as a doctor or a business owner. But this has been great, Alex. I know you're a busy guy and you're doing a lot of big business things these days. So taking the time to be with us today has been awesome. And I think people have really benefited from that. So maybe we'll have you on down the road when we have another topic come up that's just the perfect fit. Until then, this has been the Neon Buzz. I'm Alan, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks, Alan. You're a great host, and y'all were a great audience.